start in 1 minute. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Let's start with Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We are reading Bhagwat Geeta as it is by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedant Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We are on chapter 2, text 19. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge, for the self slays, nor is slain. Let's read the purport. When an embodied living entity is hurt by fatal weapons, it is to be known that the living entity within the body is not killed. The spirit soul is so small that it is impossible to kill him by any material weapon, as will be evident from the subsequent verses. Nor is the, so there is a nor, okay, nor is the living entity killable because of his spiritual constitution. What is killed or is supposed to be killed is the body only. This, however, does not at all encourage killing of the body. Just because the body can be killed doesn't mean that you have to kill it. It's not encouraging to kill it, but it's the duty right now. So he's saying that only body gets killed. The Vedic injunction is Ma Himsyat Sarva Bhutani. Never commit violence to anyone. Nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of the state as well as by the law of the Lord. Arjun, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion and not whimsically. Right? So Arjun is being asked to kill someone because it is his duty. It is now a principle of religion for him. He's a Kshatriya. And it's not just for fun that he's going to kill them. Right? Text 20. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Right? Let's read the purport. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or Kuthastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformations. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body. This is very interesting. So now we can understand at what stage we are today, individually. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because he takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth there, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has death. And because the soul has no death, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc., of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so-called old man, therefore, feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree nor anything material. The soul has no byproduct either. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individuals, and owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man. The body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from the six changes of the body. In the Katha Upanishad 1.2.18, we also find a similar passage which reads, the meaning and the purport. So there is a passage given from there, it's in Sanskrit. So I'm just moving ahead. The meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagwat Geeta. But but here in this verse, there is one special vipas, vipaskit, which means learned or with knowledge. The soul is full of knowledge or full always with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Just a minute. There's someone at the door. Sorry. The soul is full of knowledge or full always with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart where he is situated, one can still understand the presence of the soul simply by the presence of consciousness. Yeah. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to clouds. So it's giving a comparison that we don't have to worry. We do have the soul. It may be not visible or unknown to you, but we all of us have soul inside. It's comparing to the sun behind the clouds. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to clouds or for some other reason, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is therefore daytime. As soon as there is a little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand that the sun is in the sky. Similarly, since there is some consciousness in all bodies, whether man or animal, we can understand the presence of the soul. This consciousness of the soul is, however, different from the consciousness of the Supreme because the Supreme Consciousness is all knowledge, past, present, and future, right? The Supreme Consciousness knows what was in the past lives, what is going to happen in future, and of course he knows what is happening in the present. What is going to happen, what is happening, and what is already happened in the past for all the lifetimes. So that is called absolute truth or knowledge, all knowledge. And my mom used to say in Gujarati, it's called Keval Gyan, means you know everything about everyone and every living being. You know everything, past, present, future, all lifetimes. So the consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtains education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teachings of Bhagwat Geeta would be useless. There are two kinds of souls, namely the minute particle soul, that is Anuatma, and the super soul, that is Vibhuatma. This is also confirmed in Katha Upanishad 1.2.20 in this way. Both the super soul, that is Paramatma, and the atomic soul, that is Jivatma, are situated on the same tree of the body within the same heart of the living being, and only one who has become free from all the material desires as well as lamentations can, by the grace of Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is the fountainhead of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters. And Arjun is the atomic soul, forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. So beautiful. Let's move to text 21. This is again Krishna addressing Arjun. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Let's read the purport. Everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Similarly, I get a feeling that, what if we just surrender to our soul? Like, what if we surrender to our consciousness? We keep acting the way our conscious is asking us to act. So, it will be so divine actually. Sim- Similarly, violence has its utility, and how to apply violence rests with the person in knowledge. Although the justice of the peace awards capital punishment to a person condemned of murder, the justice of the peace cannot be blamed because he orders violence to another person according the codes of justice. So in Manu Samhita, the law book of mankind, it is supported that a murderer should be condemned to death so that in his next life he will not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. So beautiful. Now we know capital punishment. So nicely they have written. Therefore, the king's punishment of hanging a murderer is actually beneficial. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for the supreme justice, and thus Arjun should follow the instructions, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate the man, or rather the soul, cannot be killed. So, for the administration of justice, so called violence is permitted, right? So that the soul doesn't suffer the same thing in its next life. It's better to murder, or it's better to do the violence, that violence. So beautifully, you understand the logic. A surgical operation is not meant to kill the patient, but to cure him. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at the instruction of Krishna is with full knowledge, so there is no possibility of sinful reaction. Right. Let's read let's read 22, text 22. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. That's so true. We are just reading it again. Let's read the purport. Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in a previous verse. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the supersoul. The supersoul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. The Vedas, like the Mundaka Upanishad, as well as the Shvetashvara, Shvetashvatara Upanishad, compare the soul and the supersoul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, that is Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. So Krishna is the witnessing bird, and Arjun is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and the other is the servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's change. Sorry, is the cause of one's changing his position from one tree to another or from one body to another. The Jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjun agreed to do by voluntary surrender onto Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentation. Both the Mundaka Upanishad and Shvetashvatara Upanishad confirms this. Although the two birds are in the same tree, quoted, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But if in some way or the other he turns his face to his friend Lord and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxiety. Arjun has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagwat Geeta from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjun is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on the sacrifi- sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjun's lamentation. So good. I think we can finish text 23 and then we will close. Text 23. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon or nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Let's read the purport. All kinds of weapons like swords, plain weapons, rain weapon, tornado weapons, etc., are unable to kill the spirit soul. It appears that there were many kinds of weapons made of earth, water, air, ether, etc., in addition to the modern weapons of fire. Even the nuclear weapons of the modern age are classified as fire weapons, but formerly there were other weapons made of, sorry, even the nuclear weapons of the modern age are classified as fire weapons, but formerly there were other weapons made of all different types of material elements. Fire weapons were counteracted by water weapons, which are now unknown to modern science. Nor do modern scientists have knowledge of tornado weapons. So all these weapons existed in spirituality, in our they they were they existed long time ago, since our Vedic period, but these are not yet discovered by the modern day. So they are describing all those weapons also. Nonetheless, the soul can never be cut into pieces nor annihilated by any number of weapons, regardless of scientific devices. The Mayavadi cannot explain how the individual soul came into existence simply by ignorance and consequently become covered by the illusory energy. Nor was it ever possible to cut the individual souls from the original Supreme Soul. Rather, the individual souls are eternally separated parts of the Supreme Soul because they are atomic individual souls eternally, Sanatana. They are prone to be covered by the illusory energy and thus they become separated from the association of the Supreme Lord. Just as the sparks of a fire, although one in quality with the fire, are prone to be extinguished when out of the fire. In the Varaha Puran, the living entities are described as separated parts and parcels of the Supreme. Okay. So the concept they are trying to explain is that the soul cannot be divided or cut. But there is a Puran where it says that soul are separated parts of the Supreme. Okay, let's understand that more. They are eternally so according to the Bhagwat Geeta also. So even after being liberated from the illusion, that is Maya, the living entity remains a separate entity as is evident from the teachings of the Lord to Arjuna. Arjun became liberated by the knowledge received from Krishna, but he never became one with Krishna. Yeah. So the concept of having one soul and dividing the soul into various millions of souls is not true. There is a soul, and yes, we are part of those souls, but we are still different from this. It's like a drop of water and the ocean of water have the same thing, but drop is different and ocean is different. Something like that. I think we will stop here. Let let's end with Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone.